Ladies and gentlemen, and anything in between or otherwise. Welcome to today's WWE Smackdown preview. It is the Seth Rollins show tonight because, let's face it, they've been promoting the hell out of Seth Rollins. He's been the big deal they've been trying to focus on. And really, when I look at any preview, literally anywhere you can find one, it is all about Seth today. That's the only thing that anybody seems to want to talk about, despite so many good things going on with Raw, with SmackDown, and with otherwise. I am Tom Colohue. If this is your first show ever on YouTube or on Twitch, welcome. Lovely to see you. You get to ask whatever questions you want here. I will not be doing these on YouTube that many more times. There'll be a bit of news on that in a little while, but you get to ask any questions you want. I will run down the SmackDown card. You get to share your opinions. You get to say what you think is going to happen. We get to do a little bit of fantasy booking, just have a little bit of fun with it. Eleanor Line is here. Welcome, Eleanor, saying, I love it that it is now the Seth Rollins show. And it is. We are not the Roman Reigns show today. Today, we are very much the Seth Rollins show. And why wouldn't we be? Seth Rollins is the big deal going on right now in the company. They've been promoting Seth Rollins non-stop. That's an interesting name over on YouTube. Someone says, hi. All right, someone, welcome. Glad to see some new faces. There will certainly be a few new faces in because we've had quite a lot of interest in my most recent YouTube video. If you haven't seen it, it is up on YouTube now, and it basically, you can watch it after this. And it basically is all about the abuse and harassment that a number of wrestlers have been receiving. That received a hell of a lot of likes. I'm really very happy with what we received from that. I'm really thrilled with the success that it had. That's a great thing, and I'm really happy about that. I am going to quickly publicize on Twitter that I'm here so people can come in and jump in and ask some questions. Oh, Eleanor, thank you very much. Says that video was great, very well said. Thank you. Also, someone says, love the channel. Thank you as well. That's fantastic. I may not be doing so much live YouTube content in future, but I'll still be doing quite a lot of YouTube content. So you will see quite a lot of that in the days to come. Ed is here over on Twitch saying, loved your new video. Thanks very much, Ed. Loved the Bloodborne stream yesterday. Many cliffable moments. Congrats on affiliate. Looking forward to subscribing soon. That brings me on to my opening news, which is always worth doing. Hi, Michael. Welcome. Glad to see you. Glad to see you here. So I have reached the point now of being able to apply for affiliate on Twitch. While I've got this, I'm just going to publicize the fact that we are doing a Seth Rollins show over on Twitch once my Twitter properly loads. Don't worry, I am juggling a lot of things. I can see my chat here, so everything's working out well. Jumping now to the Seth Rollins show over on Twitch. There won't be too many live shows on YouTube in the future. So now's the time to jump back up. Are you there? www.twitch.tv/Tom Colohue. I do usually prepare this ahead of time. Apologies for that. My laptop decided to start updating at a really awkward moment. So essentially, my news is, as I mentioned, I am now at the point on Twitch that I can reach affiliate state. Now, with YouTube, in order to reach monetization, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I have been on target for that, but it looks like it will take a full year to get there. With Twitch, I got there in a month, just the 1 month, and that is a large part thanks to everyone involved over there, and people like yourself, someone right there, saying that you've just gone over and followed, or you have followed previously. We've managed to get to a point of 55 followers, which is one hell of an achievement. I'm really happy with what we've been able to do over there. What that means, though, is that I cannot be both live on YouTube and Twitch when I'm getting paid for one of them. I will be getting paid for Twitch, so I cannot be live on YouTube at the same time. I have to move full-time over to Twitch. What this means for you guys is that you'll get the same content, but it won't be on YouTube as well. So I need people to be going over to Twitch if they haven't already, if they want to remain having these chats, because the chats will still be ongoing. You just unfortunately might not be there to enjoy them. Also, you're going to get more content over there because we do watch parties. We'll be doing a watch party for Raw, a watch party for SmackDown, probably a watch party for TakeOver, and of course one for the Elimination Chamber. The Elimination Chamber watch party will be the final live video on YouTube. After that, I will be applying for the Twitch affiliate program, which means I will be purely on Twitch from there. That will be a big show, much like the Royal Rumble show was. I'll be trying to generate some excitement about that. I am hoping to see as many of you there as possible. But after that, the Twitch doors will open, and we will have the option of not only following but also subscribing. There will be subscriber-only news streams. Keep your eye out for those. If you don't subscribe, you won't have access to those. But at the same time, hopefully, people who do will share the news anyway. Whew. So that's the personal news. Let's have a quick look at what the comments have been saying. I left that on a little bit longer than I expected. Dominic Perez says, any information on Ronda Rousey and Cesaro push? Loved your show the other day, play the music. One of the reasons I am moving over to Twitch is because full-time is because I can use Streamlabs, which will allow me to play the music. I can't in StreamYard. Ronda Rousey, still no working deal with the WWE. Though they are currently trying to negotiate the idea that she will be working purely on the gaming side. Just quickly, I'll skip a little bit ahead. Austin Palmenter says, what's your Twitch? My Twitch is twitch.tv/Tom Colohue. So I'm going to put a link right here in the comments so everybody knows where to go. That's on both sides now. It's on Twitch. Don't know why I typed it on Twitch as well, but I did, and it is on YouTube. So you can literally just click that link and go straight across. Should be the easiest thing in the world. Austin says, I'm taking a guess Roman defends the belt in the chamber against Owens, Cesaro, Nakamura, Bryan, and either Big E or Jey Uso. That would be a hell of a match. That would be a lot of fun. I would not be particularly surprised by that idea. I think the fact that they've done that with Drew McIntyre suggests they will have to do that for Roman as well, and for SmackDown and the side there. There are a number of people that could be involved. I think the obvious choice instead of Big E or Jey Uso would be Seth Rollins. I think having Seth Rollins there would add a lot to it. But we will have to see. There are a number of ways it can go. I am still hoping for an Intercontinental Championship one, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Michael Latina says the watch party for Raw was fun this week. Look forward to more. Thank you very much, Michael. I look forward to doing more. I had a great time with the watch party on Raw. That was my most successful show yet. And that is what kicked me into the position where I'm now able to monetize. So that's something to look forward to. Anand Vaswani says, hey, Tom, good to see you. Good to see you too, man. Glad to see you dropping in. Ed says, I do love the idea of having Jey Uso in the chamber with Roman. That would be an interesting dynamic. But we'd have to wait and see. If Jey Uso is in a position there that he can, for example, interrupt and prevent Roman from getting what he needs to do. Sorry, I've just silenced my phone. Then there's a lot of things possible. But if he's just there as like a dog's body doing as he's told, not so keen on that. AK Ray asks, is Asuka going to Mania as champ? I do believe Asuka will be the Raw Women's Champion come WrestleMania. I think she's been let down multiple times on the WrestleMania front. And I think it's just much better an idea to have her take the title in. Lacey Evans, for me, will not be in a position where she's taking the championship and then Charlotte's winning it from her. As far as I can tell, this is a very brief program for Lacey Evans to give Asuka something to do, which Charlotte will still be involved. Lacey Evans will never be that much of a threat to Asuka. Elena Lyons says, I'm quite annoyed that they do not seem to be doing a women's elimination chamber match. A SmackDown women's championship one would have been fun. Still possible. So the mandate came down last week. Hey guys, we haven't announced anything for Elimination Chamber. We should probably do that. And it came down after last week's SmackDown. We saw them on Raw. I have a sneaking suspicion SmackDown this week will open with Shane McMahon or Stephanie McMahon coming down to announce a women's Elimination Chamber match, depending on what happens there. If we get 2 championship Elimination Chambers for like the top male championships, I think that's slightly stronger looking for WrestleMania, but we'll have to wait and see. We need that level of confusion for Bianca Belair as well for me. Just a quick reminder, if you are watching on YouTube, please do remember to click like on the video. That helps me grow, get more people in. The like column for my latest video about the abuse and harassment in wrestling has been tremendous. I am extremely grateful to everyone there who has been able to deliver that and been able to help me with that, because it is literally one of my most successful videos ever. I know the views are relative, but it's not just views that YouTube look at, it's also watch time. People were invested in what I was saying for longer, and it's how often people click on it when they're not a subscriber. That really showed as well. So likes really do make a massive impact. Anand says, do you think Edge should go against Finn Balor, considering Triple H's statement of Edge wanting to elevate younger talent? And this will also help NXT to go neck and neck against AEW in terms of rating. I think they definitely considered that possibility. I think the final decision on what's happening with Edge has not been made yet. I think we could still see Edge against pretty much anyone. However, I think the fact that Edge went to NXT and the ratings did not bounce at all, I think that's a bad thing. I think that's a bad look for him and a bad look for NXT as well. I think logically, around WrestleMania time, we will be seeing Finn Balor take on Karrion Kross. Now, Finn Balor, I've previously reported he didn't have any interest in using the Demon, and he's reconfirmed that in an interview with the New York Post, but said maybe Karrion Kross is the right opponent for it. Would you be interested in Karrion Kross versus the Demon King Finn Balor, especially knowing that the Demon King would be losing that fight? It says, imagine having Jay lay down at the final 2 and the confliction on his face doing it. That, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I like the idea, and I think it's good long-term storytelling. Also, the amount of hate that would get from the Twitterati, as it were, and the IWC, which hate pretty much everything, let's be honest, would be incredible. Would be akin to, what was his name? Won the women's Money in the Bank. James Ellsworth. Akin to James Ellsworth winning the women's Money in the Bank. That is how badly I think that would be received. Ed agrees with Eleanor. The SmackDown women could put on a hell of a chamber. They definitely could. And I think the fact that we are seeing people like Sasha Banks, Bayley, even if we take out Bianca Belair, maybe we can get Sonya Deville back in there. Maybe we can get Billie Kay. They can put on incredible stuff. Billie Kay has been in a chamber before. Liv Morgan has been in a chamber before. Bayley and Sasha Banks have been in multiple chambers before. There is a lot that they could do with it. And we've got really inventive people. I would like to see that happen. AK Ray says, is Cameron Grimes the best promo in NXT? Who's best overall promo in WWE? I liked Cameron Grimes' promo, but I do feel I should remind people that is one really good promo, whereas the Undisputed Era have delivered every single week for years. For me, Adam Cole is still the best when it comes to promos in NXT. There are a number of other very good, talented people at delivering promos there. I recently in a video said Adam Cole maybe instead of Adam Cole baby. That may become a thing. That's all I'm saying. Someone says, do you think there'll be an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania? They didn't do it last year. Main reason being they just couldn't afford to have that many people in a ring. They wanted that element of safety. It's safer now. They have things a little more set up and they are a little more decisive in the way that they are doing things. So I think we will see Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royals and the Women's Battle Royal for the Uterus Trophy. I think we will definitely see those. We will definitely see the Uterus Trophy at WrestleMania. We'll see at least one uterus. That's all I'm saying. Eleanor agrees with Ed as well. Imagine if it was Sasha, Bayley, Billie Kay, Liv, Natalya. It would be fire. You are missing one name there. Natalya would be a good call because that's the ring general. But Ed's got you back here. Don't forget throwing Carmella in there. Or what if you put Bianca in there at the same time and let her potentially be Rumble winner and champion? I can't see them doing that. I think both Edge and Bianca Belair will not be wrestling very much in the build-up to what's coming. But I think Carmella is the right person to add to that. Now, I think I would put Ruby Riott in there over Natalya personally. However, Natalya is a good shout in any single world that we could possibly do this. Right, so shall we talk SmackDown? Let's have a look at my preview document. We have talked a little bit about Seth Rollins, but that really is the big news that they are pushing hard for what is happening right now. Seth Rollins coming back and changing the landscape. How is he going to change the landscape, though? It seems obvious that he may treat with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan seemed to be suggesting that he would go a bit more heel. That is something they could definitely work on. I think Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins still has life in it as long as it ends in Daniel Bryan turning heel. And I think logically that is what's going to happen. However, there are a number of other people that Seth Rollins could work with, maybe that he hasn't worked with too often. At the Royal Rumble, Cesaro attempted to eliminate Seth Rollins, and Seth said, "I thought you were my friend." Cesaro has gone a lot more face recently. I would like to see a feud between Cesaro and Seth Rollins. I think that really helps to elevate Cesaro back to the main event picture. I say back to the main event picture. Also, then we could have Seth Rollins working with Shinsuke Nakamura. They've had one match that I can recall. They've been engaging at Survivor Series every now and then, and I would like to see a proper feud between the two of them. I think there's a lot that the two could do together. Outside of that, there is also the question of whether this means that Seth Rollins returning to SmackDown will mean that Becky Lynch will move to SmackDown when she, or if she, returns. Who would you like to see Seth facing off against? Someone asks, is Seth still going to be a heel? Yes, he is. The fact that he had new gear made with Messiah listed on it definitely says that he is going to continue to be the Messiah character. Now, he doesn't have a flock. He doesn't have people following him. I can see him going a little bit Raven in this particular way, but we'll have to wait and see. I think he'll start looking to recruit new people, but what new people are there that he could actually recruit? Because in that SmackDown card, a hell of a lot of people have already been recruited by, for example, Roman Reigns. And I think if he pushes too hard with the Messiah character, you'll get Roman Reigns. They are quite similar dynamics. So I'd like them to steer a little bit clear of that. I would like Seth to be solo, continue with the Messiah, but try and prove it in the ring. Because Roman doesn't really wrestle on SmackDown. I think since returning, he's wrestled maybe twice on SmackDown. He was in a tag match once, but he literally came in, pinned someone, and that was that. And he was in the cage match, and I think that's been about it that he's actually wrestled. So I think they could definitely separate them by having Seth involved in a match every single week. I think as well, Seth is going to come for the Intercontinental Championship. So logically for me, have a very brief match with Daniel Bryan, leading towards Daniel Bryan's heel turn, have a feud with Cesaro, with Nakamura involved as well, and then for WrestleMania, Seth Rollins versus Big E, for me, should be the Intercontinental Championship match. Failing that, let's add some more bodies. Let's do Seth versus Big E versus Apollo Crews, who will get a huge rub from that, versus Sami Zayn. That would be a great four-way for me. And I know a little thing about great four-ways in wrestling. Eleanor says, I just really hope they don't do a dad storyline with Seth and Bryan. I get what you're saying. I know it seems unlikely, but WWE don't shy away from using people's personal lives in stories. To be fair, that's how the whole feud of Rey Mysterio started. Literally, the whole feud of Rey Mysterio, which started in May, started because Rey interrupted a backstage promo in which Seth Rollins, with his crazy hair, do you remember the crazy hair, and pretending he had a gut? He did not have a gut. He's a very, very, very well-kept man, as we know. And he was interrupted by Rey Mysterio because it's WWE, no one can finish a promo. And he was congratulating him. And then Seth tore his eye out. Yeah. Ed says, and this is definitely worth pointing out, He agrees with Eleanor, but also speaking of that, congratulations to Mia Yim and Keith Lee, who are now engaged. Thank you for reminding me to point that out. I wish them the absolute best. They have both been very, very talented, creative performers. They have brought me a whole lot of entertainment, and the same is true for many other people. So I wish them all the best going forwards as well. Anand says, do you think WWE could have pushed Elimination Chamber a week or two later, considering there is not much hype of it now and they are lacking storylines? Well, here's the thing. The WWE made their bed with this. Royal Rumble was pushed back a week. They added Fastlane when they didn't need to. They could have had the Royal Rumble at late January, Elimination Chamber late February, and then WrestleMania beginning of April. Clearly, they need to have something happen at the Elimination Chamber and something happen at Fastlane. They need to have both pay-per-views for a reason. Now, it could be that Fastlane was put in simply to have matches on that card that they don't have time for at WrestleMania. They have done that before. They looked at that last year and essentially trimmed off any matches that made the WrestleMania card too bloated, stuck them on a pay-per-view before. With SummerSlam, that is exactly what they did. They trimmed matches off of SummerSlam and stuck them on Payback. And then they did the return of Roman and used that as a way to change things and develop things as well. When it comes to what they are planning to do with the Elimination Chamber, something big must be happening. So my suggestion would be Elimination Chamber, they decide who the champions are going to be. I don't see any championships changing hands. And then at Fastlane, we decide what the WrestleMania card is going to be. At Elimination Chamber, I also think Bray Wyatt will be returning. And at WrestleMania, he'll be back in the ring. So I think there will be a confrontation between him and Randy Orton at Fastlane, and he won't be appearing much on weekly TV. But we'll have to wait and see there. They have made their bed. They clearly have a plan of what they want to do at Elimination Chamber and don't have a plan of what else they want to do at Elimination Chamber. And Alan said, yeah, he congratulated him. Yeah, that was Rey Mysterio. And that wonderful, wonderful moment of, yeah, congratulations, Seth. You're going to be a dad soon. Fatherhood's the best thing in the world. Ow, my eye. Seth will be returning this week. If someone congratulates him on the birth of baby Rue, that's a very, very brave person. All I'll say. All I will say. So let's see what else we've got in the preview document. Having very cleanly vanquished Apollo Crews and Sami Zayn, Big E needs new challenges. It could be that we are going to see more of the same. And to be honest, I wouldn't really have that much of an issue with that. I'd be excited by that because we've had really good matches out of this particular group of people. So why not? Apollo Crews right now is really being elevated strongly. And I would say Big E is really defining himself as a fighting champion. I like that. Let's do that. And it's nice to have a face champion with a title that likes to defend it, because at the minute we've got a heel at the top and, he's not really defending it all that much. Also, Sasha Banks isn't really defending it all that much, but that's because there's not many challenges at the moment. As regards Sasha Banks, unless they are going to do a women's elimination chamber, she also needs new opposition. She was set up very cleanly against Bianca Belair last week, and I expect to see more of that. However, I also expect to see Bianca Belair's developing feud with Carmella. It looks like Bianca Belair is going to appear every now and then on Raw, but will not actually be moving to Raw. There is no belief in my body that we are going to see Bianca Belair versus Asuka at WrestleMania. I have absolute confidence it'll be Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. That's the bigger, more marketable match, and I suspect that's where they need to go. It'll be better for Bianca Belair as well. So I think Bianca Belair will have another encounter with Carmella, will vanquish her probably at Elimination Chamber or Fastlane, and then having vanquished her, will formally challenge Sasha Banks. Ideally, this is the time when we should have a women's Elimination Chamber and Carmella versus Bianca Belair, so that by the end of that night, Bianca Belair can come out on the next SmackDown and say, I have decided who I want to face. That would be ideal for me. That's what the women's division looks like right now, but Bayley will also be back in action. She has basically announced on Twitter, I will be there, even though no match has been announced. She worked with Ruby Riott last week. She could work with Liv Morgan. She could work with Billie Kay this week. She is being used to further the storyline between the Riott Squad and Billie Kay. Since losing the championship, Bayley has been putting everyone else over to an extreme degree, and that is a very, very positive thing. She's been doing great work, absolutely great work, and really the entire women's division is benefiting from the efforts that she is making. So we are going to see more of that. We also potentially could see more from the women's tag team champions. The Riot Squad could potentially be involved, but it looks like the women's tag team champions are going to be busy on Raw and on NXT going forwards. We know the winner of the Women's Dusty Classic will be facing off against the tag team champions. I've mentioned that here a couple of times over the last few weeks as well. But also, Naomi and Lana have an opportunity coming up. Logically, that means we're going to see an appearance on NXT of the champions, and I think it makes a lot more sense for Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler to go to NXT than Naomi and Lana. They are bigger names. So I think we're going to see that match happen first, and then Naomi and Lana will likely be involved at a pay-per-view somewhere. I suspect that'll be a fast lane one rather than an elimination chamber one. The Riot Squad, however, as I say, more likely to be working with Billie Kay. We also are looking to see whether or not the Street Profits will have their tag team championship match against the Dirty Dogs, Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. They have been active, Roode and Ziggler. They have been made to look strong, if not particularly dominant. They managed to win over Gable and Otis pretty comfortably last week and debuted their new theme song. So I think we're going to see that match made sooner rather than later. They're definitely building to it, as we know from the Street Profits appearing last week in the box in the corner, which wasn't a great bit, but they did it, and here we are. I'm going to briefly check on the comments we've been getting. Anand says, would you like to see Sasha turn heel against Bianca, or we could see a similar match that happened between Styles and Nakamura at WrestleMania 34? You've hit the nail on the head there, in my opinion, with the comparison to Styles and Nakamura. I suspect we're going to see exactly the same thing that happened there. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair faces going into that match, and then Sasha Banks turning heel in that match. I think she will lose the title in that match, turn heel, challenge for the title several more times, at least until June, but never quite retrieve it. That is what I suspect will happen. I think Sasha Banks is a very, very good heel, and they need really good heels. If they're going to build Bianca Belair as the all-conquering hero, if we're going to see Becky Lynch return and come to SmackDown, we need new heels to go against them. There is life in a Becky versus Bayley feud. When it comes to Sasha, I think Sasha and Bianca will continue a little bit more. And also, to be honest, I think there's more life in Sasha versus Becky as well. Michael Latino says, I think face versus face would work very well with Sasha and Bianca. I don't think Sasha needs to turn heel now, considering she's one of the faces of the whole company. If she does continue to be a face, I'd like to see her move back to Raw, essentially, depending on the landscape. There may be another shake-up sooner rather than later, so it really depends on the landscape going forwards. And Eleanor says, can you see Shayna and Nia walking into WrestleMania as tag team champions? I can, and I can't. I think what we're going to see going forward is that potentially the winner of the Women's Dusty Classic will win the Women's Tag Team Championships. So I think we are looking at potentially at WrestleMania, Shayna and Nia, Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, Lana and Naomi, and the Riot Squad. 4 corners, Women's Tag Team title match. I think that's where we're heading, and I would love to see that. Though we could also see Natalya and Beth Phoenix involved again. There's a number of things he can do. That's what I suspect will be happening. Just popping back to the preview. We are looking for more from Edge. Edge will be there tonight, and he will obviously be more riling to Roman Reigns. Roman at the moment doesn't seem to have that much to do, but will undoubtedly be looking for revenge once again against Kevin Owens. I do believe now that Jey Uso is back, we will see eventually Edge and Owens versus Reigns and Jey Uso. There isn't necessarily unfinished business with Kevin Owens, though. I think really Kevin Owens walking away the way he did last week might be the end of that feud. There is a number of people Kevin Owens could work with. I can see Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan being revisited once Daniel Bryan does turn heel. But I think really, when it comes to Roman Reigns, Roman will be more focused on Edge, and Edge will be there. This would be the ideal time for some sort of attack backstage from Roman Reigns. I think that's about everything we are like to. Oh, no, one more thing. One more thing on my document. Baron Corbin will continue to feud with Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio for a while longer. Who will be brought back? I still think we're going to see Cain Velasquez. I just don't think he's there as of yet, and that's why it's been stretched and stretched and stretched. Baron Corbin has been made to look extremely strong and could well be a future Intercontinental Champion. That's something to keep an eye on as well. Michael Latina says, is Jimmy Uso expected to come back soon? I thought he would be back by now. I was expecting him to be back by the Rumble. So was I. The reports that came out about Jimmy Uso were very clear back in January. It hasn't happened yet. However, he may have suffered a setback, or the reports may have been wrong, as has happened, and we know that. Alan says, when do you think Adam Cole and Undisputed Era will make the main roster debut? Cole had a lengthy reign of NXT Championship, and now he can do much more on the main roster. I do believe Undisputed Era have done everything they could possibly have done and more in NXT. However, and I've reported on this before, not all of the Undisputed Era want to go to the main roster. Not all of them do. And the WWE aren't particularly interested in bringing one or two or three of the Undisputed Era. They want them all. We'll see going forward, but NXT is at the moment suffering in a very certain degree. There are clear problems, and I think I'm going to do a YouTube video about this as well, considering the result of the last one. But when it comes to NXT, there are people who want to be called up. Those people are brought up. They are pushed. They work hard for like a year, and then a year later, they are being fed to the next NXT guy who comes up. Angel Garza and Damian Priest on Raw, perfect example of this. Keith Lee came up, he was working with Randy Orton, he was working with Drew McIntyre. Now he's looking to work with Bobby Lashley. Could be a United States champion. I think that's a logical next step. What if he doesn't? What if he doesn't come out of that with the win? Then we're moving into a feud with Matt Riddle, another NXT call-up. And it looks like the NXT call-ups are getting stuck feuding with each other. In the other camp, you've got people who refuse to leave NXT, and our top guys there, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole. They can't always be the top guys. It has to be cyclical. NXT previously had the beauteous position of, okay, Johnny Gargano's a top guy with us. Let's move him to the main roster. Let's get someone else in that position. Someone else is always ready. Seth Rollins leaving NXT paved the way for Big E. Big E leaving NXT paved the way for Finn Balor, and so on and so on and so on. NXT was able to move people on, which is an easy way to refresh your main roster. That kept it fresh. That kept it new. That kept it exciting. When we saw Andrade versus Johnny Gargano, it was a pinnacle moment. Andrade was called up shortly after. Johnny Gargano should have been and wasn't. Which means now we have a lot of people that the WWE are trying to come up with things for that they haven't already done. Gargano, Ciampa, etc. We're going to see a lot of heel and face turns. They're going to have to keep it interesting. And when someone like Karrion Kross comes along and is pushed to the top, you get what happens with Undisputed Era being left off the card. They're not going to be upset by that. Fans might be. Elena says, I would love even just a backstage interaction between Rollins and Reigns with their Shield history. The story is just there. Agreed. I think logically we need to see something between them. I would like to see Roman try and bring Seth into the fold. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's something we could see, but maybe not for too long. Eleanor also says, I virtually met Jey Uso back in December. That must have been lovely. He said Jimmy would be back in January, so something must have happened. Very possible. It's possible he has been cleared, but he's just on creative hiatus at the moment. There's a number of things it could be. That happened with Nia Jax last year that I reported on this, that Nia Jax had been cleared ahead of the Royal Rumble, but just hadn't been used and would be making her return at WrestleMania for the Women's Battle Royal where she would win it. The Women's Battle Royal was cancelled, but she did return the night after on Raw and essentially play the same storyline. That is all the comments that I have. So I'm going to quickly reiterate my personal news. Anyone who has not already followed over on Twitch, please do remember to do so. I will only be streaming on Twitch by the end of this month. The live shows on YouTube will be leaving YouTube. I will still be making reviews. I will still be making WTF wrestling. I will still be making previews and things. And there will be clips and highlights from the Twitch shows over on YouTube, but you will not be able to interact with me live outside of Twitch. So please remember to jump on over to Twitch, because after the Elimination Chamber watch along, that will be the end of the YouTube live. That said, when it comes to the Elimination Chamber watch along, I am currently considering what guests to invite. If there are people you would like me to invite, please do let me know. Just send a comment right here or tweet me at Twitter at Colohue. If you'd like to follow me on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/Tom Colohue. They will be higher quality over there, and you will also have access to a lot of different content as well. There is gaming content on Tuesdays. We do Football Manager. On Thursdays, we do Bloodborne, and a lot of fun with Bloodborne yesterday, I tell you that. And we also do watch-alongs of Raw and SmackDown. So if you are watching Raw and SmackDown, jump on over to Twitch. You can join me for a SmackDown watch-along tonight, this very night right here, and we can get involved and make something happen. Those have been my most enjoyable, successful shows so far, because I've got Raw or SmackDown right there, and I'm just jamming with the crew that we've got here. Matt Hendricks, welcome, says Roman versus Rollins versus Cesaro versus KO versus Nakamura versus Bryan Chamber. Oh, that is a very exciting concept. Very exciting. I think really, as strong as a group as that is, it's logical that we'll have that championship match. But really, I think Rollins just returning, that might not be the ideal place for him. But there are a number of people who could also be there, of course. Ed says, will there be an NXT watch along this week? I am honestly still considering it. I need to work out some of the logistics with the schedule and stuff to work out when I should start and so on and so forth. I find it very likely that there will be. I will definitely let you know by tonight's watch along. And Matt says, sounds like Balor wants Demon versus Cross. Yeah, I also read the New York Post interview where he suggested that, but he's also said the Demon King hasn't really been working for him. I did report, I think the middle of the year, that the Demon King didn't really work out, and Finn Balor wasn't really interested in bringing it back, but it was up to him when he wanted to bring it back. This could be the ideal time. So that has been my SmackDown preview. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has joined me. If you've been watching on YouTube, please do remember to click that like button, and do remember that there will only be 3 more live YouTube shows after this. 3 more. 1 more Raw show, 1 more SmackDown show, and the Elimination Chamber watch along. Feel free to join me there. And for now, just quickly, Ed, is there a good way to pet Escobar over next week on NXT? Absolutely not. You know exactly what's going to happen there. Thank you to everyone who has joined me, and I will see you all very soon.